So I'm sure I'm not the only one who's kind of disappointed with the new conversion species in Pokemon. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's a really, really cool idea. I love the idea of conversion species, especially since we do have something like that in the real world, where we have something like, let's say, the armadillo and the penguin, who are very similar animals who aren't related to each other, but live very similarly. And I think that's really cool. And I think it's a good idea to have as a concept in Pokemon because for one, it makes a world feel more real than it already is. And also, I think you can just do some really cool designs with old Pokemon and make them new. I think that's a really cool thing. It feels like the regional forms, but with a new twist into them and something that they can do a lot more with. But sadly, I feel like that it just kind of is a waste potential. Now, I'm not going to complain about, oh, there's only three evolutionary lines in the whole conversion species. Because honestly, Gen 9 had a lot of new forms for old Pokemon, whether it be new evolutions like Bisharps and Primeape getting what's his name? King Abbott and Annihilate, or the new Paradox forms, which as of now, I think there's like what 16 of them now. Originally, there was only 14. I think that there's well, obviously the DLC is going to be going up in a few days, so we're going to get the new Entei and Terrakion and all those new ones. But as of now, like there's 16 and then 14 was originally in the game. So that's a lot of new forms. And we also had Wooper and a new Taurus forms. So we had a lot and a lot of forms. So that's nothing I'm going to complain about. But I feel like if they wanted to do something, I think they should have cut down a little bit of the paradox forms so they can work on the designs themselves, because that's a lot. And we have stuff like Iron Jugulus, which doesn't even change at all. Like, it doesn't change at all. And I think instead of putting effort into Iron Jugulus, little that they have, because there's something different about it, and I hate Iron Jugulus, you could fix some of the forms that we have now. So as of now, we only have three different evolutionary lines, starting off with the Toadscruel line. Now, I really, really love this Pokemon. I think it looks awesome. I love the colorations of it, and it just makes so much sense turning a jellyfish into a mushroom. Because it makes sense, because they have the same shape, they look really cool. Like, I love seeing how Toadscruel, like, run around and go like this, well, in the wild, like it's really, really fun and it's a really cool idea. And it fits well because the body shapes of Toadscruel and Tentacruel work as mushrooms because they're jellyfish. And it's just a really smart idea. I really like it. And the shinies and just everything about how they look really, really cool. I really like what they did with it. But the other two is where I think it's kind of let down because you have Diglett, which already has a regional form, and the regional form already doesn't even look that good. You get two free little hairs, and then the Doug trio, they just get a whole bunch of hair, and it's just kind of like, why is this a steel type? Why did this need to exist? I think Diglett works as it is. In Doug Trio is a really fun ground type, where what it does is just traps the Pokemon so they can't change, and then you can use it as a fun battle mechanic where you can use it to trap any like weaker Pokemon with like low health. Now that's a really fun idea. But what Wugtrio and Wiglet does, I don't feel like they need to exist. Like it's just another Doug Trio or Diglett, just a different color, and they're not even that fun to use anymore because you got rid of arena traps. So like what's the point? Now I know that they're supposed to be eels. I think what would have made it better if you gave them like mouths like an eel, like give it like kind of like you know how like what's his name? Hauntail has like a huge mouth. Maybe try to do that with Wiglet and Wugtrio. I think that would have been much better of how it looks. I don't like the whole thing where it's just like Diglett, but it's just like longer. Like it just doesn't make any sense why they need to do Diglett. Like I know Game Freak kind of started to love the Diglett suddenly because you had what the regional form, and then it had a whole thing in Gen 8 with what them all around, and then they're in Shining Pearl and Diamond or whatever, Brilliant Diamond. So they're getting a lot more love in Game Freak, and that's cool. I like Diglett too. I love Doug Trio, but they work as a standalone like Pokemon line. I don't think they need regional forms because there's not much you can already do with Diglett to make it cool. Like it's just how it is. Like you don't need to change it. I do like the idea of like an eel Pokemon in a coral reef. I think that's a really cool ideal and a garden eel. I think that's cool. I think it's just kind of a waste because why did you have to choose Diglett? Like beforehand, they had Pokemon like instead of they were thinking before Toad's Cruel they were going to do Magikarp and Gyarados. Why not do that instead of Wiglet and Wugtrio? Maybe because it was like an easy thing to do. Because honestly, I just don't like the idea of getting Wiglet or Diglett forms. But I'm keep going Wiggly. But yeah, I just don't think there's really a point to them. I just don't. And then next is the what's this? Cha, I think it's how you spell it, or how you pronounce it. The Poltergeist new forms. I don't really understand why they're conversion species. I just don't really understand. They're very similar, and I don't really know why they have to be conversion species. They could have easily just been new like regional forms, and think they should have been regional forms. Because honestly, they're just tea once again. It's just a different type of tea. So why? What is the point in making it a regional or a conversion species? It should have been just a regional form. Like if this was in any other region where there wasn't conversion species, this would just be a new regional form. I don't understand. Like we don't have uh what Vulpix as a conversion species because it's just a different kind of fox. This is just a different kind of tea, right? So it just doesn't really make any sense. I don't like the idea of just putting these Pokemon just because they feel like, hey, we need another conversion species. So let's just do this. I just don't really like it. I think what they could have done is that I don't know, maybe like make it like an ice cream, maybe make it like, oh, you have the bowl of ice cream, and then you have the ice cream stuff in there, like ice cream, and you can give it toppings and everything. I just don't understand the point of making it a regional, like why isn't it a regional form? It's just a regional form, but they felt like they had to do it. So that's kind of like why I'm kind of disappointed with it. It's not really, hey, there's only three different lines, so it's bad. It's more so, why did they choose these Pokemons to do conversion pieces? I just don't really like what they did. You know, I hope later in like the next region that they do better because they can do good ones with Toad's Cruel and Toad's Cruel. I think they're really cool. I just feel like they kind of wasted it with which Pokemon they chose to do it with. And that's pretty much what I'm kind of upset about. I feel like a lot of the times with this new Game Freak, like with all these forms, they don't need all these forms, they just need to make them good. Like they only did two well, I guess technically like what, five regional forms with the Wooper and then the evolution and then the three Tauroses. Like they were all, there was only like two different like lines, right? But they were all really good. Like I really liked what they did with them for the most part. And then with paradox forms, like there were some of them that were just a lot of them just felt very like like they didn't need to exist. Like Great Tusk was awesome, and you have stuff like Sliverwing and Roy Moon that were really good. But like a lot of them were just like and like Iron Jugulus. So yeah, I just feel like if they just let down on forums because they didn't need all these forums, then it would have been awesome. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of my what I think about like just conversion species. I feel like that they were just a waste potential. I hope that in Gen 10, if they choose to keep doing it, I hope that they just do it much better because it is a really cool concept. It just didn't land, you know? So yeah, thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and goodbye.